Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about the newly released video of Donald Trump's deposition in the civil fraud case brought by Letitia James. Okay, in civil cases, parties typically have to give depositions, not in criminal cases. There's the Fifth Amendment, but there's a whole period where people give depositions, and they typically go 7 hours is the assumption. And Trump gave one here. And we'd had the transcript, but we haven't had the video until now. A media outlet was able to do the equivalent of a Freedom of Information Act request to get it. And I'll just say it's vintage Trump substance, personality, all in all his charm. A couple general comments. He's, really radiates his contempt for the whole case brought by Letitia James. Remember, this is the one where they lie to banks. They inflate the value of their properties, and they therefore get loans on better terms. That, by the way, is the fraud. The banks, if they had told the truth, they would have paid back more. And Trump keeps insisting, well, we paid the banks back, but that misses obtusely again and again and again what the actual allegations are, and what the remedy would be, because what is going on in this trial, he would need to pay back, roughly speaking, the money that he unfairly gained by lying about the value of his properties. So this is what James came in first and said $250 million, and now that's the end of trial, $370. Okay, so but we see Trump pounding the table and pouting and boasting, and it's just depends on your stomach for this sort of thing. But it's a historical document, you could say, for people who will be looking back on Trump. He says flat out, total in your face to the lawyer who's deposing him, who's not James, you don't have a case. And to this day, we have no complaints. I never, he said, even got a default letter. That's the theme that he says again and again and again, and is just as irrelevant every time he says it. But the idea is we paid the banks back. So we lied, we got better terms, or he's not speaking to that, but we paid back those better terms. So that's, that figures in, and within a kind of an outrage, and he's made, to the extent this comes up on the campaign trail, that's his number one sort of talking point. In fact, he says, the banks made all this money from him, and everybody did great, and this is just a complete monkey trial, or complete trumped up charges, as it were, because there's nothing here. Okay, maybe the choicest little nugget, and we saw this at trial also, is his basic defense of, what, you believe me? You're nuts. So he actually, there's a little disclaimer in some of the things they submitted, where the accountants say, we do this on the basis of the information that we got from the client, and it's only as good as that, etc. And in Trump's telling, and these, again, it's interesting because he's veering from the facts. A well-coached deposition witness just says, yes, no. 11:30, but he goes on, and it's always bad for him. But he said, I put a clause in there that says, don't believe that. I'm just going to quote it. It's just too good not to. As if he wrote the forms, genius that he is. I have a clause in there that says, don't believe the statement. Go out and do your own work. You're supposed to pay no credence to what we say whatsoever. And this came up. He ostensibly was going to get experts to come in and say that. No expert will say this. Even if it's true, they would lose their job, right? The Deutsche Bank coming in and saying, oh, we specifically don't believe them. We don't rely on what clients tell us. First, they must, and second, it's the law. And, third, that would be like banks falling on their sword and saying it's all bad. It's all bad. Those are the choice things about the case. Nobody lost money, and what, you sucker, you believed us. What's wrong with you? Then there's a lot of stray statements where his megalomania is on full display. He had the most important job in the world. Which is arguably true, right? But by being president, he averted a nuclear war with Korea and saved millions of lives. Where that comes from, what it's about, is a completely obscure. He's done it since, actually, when the Israel war with Hamas broke out. He basically said, if I'd have been there would be no war. Somehow October 7th wouldn't have happened. And then there's a little comic kind of turn where he wants to open the doors of these sealed buildings. It's, I don't know if you've been down in Lower Manhattan, but it's not a place where you sort of open the window and get the fresh air. They're kind of sealed shut. But he's trying to exhort them to open it so everybody can look at 40 Wall Street, one of his great properties that now, in fact, are in severe peril, whether he'll be able to keep them, given, at least tentatively, the Judge Engoron's holding, not just on the money, but on the needing to not be in any business, that have no role at all in real estate, and not be a director in any other business, and also to have to forfeit certificates of completion, basically, corporate operating documents. Those things are on appeal. He made some important rulings, like the one I was just talking about before the trial. So it will then be packaged together on appeal with the holding or opinion that the judge says he'll try to issue by the end of the week. No, I'm sorry, by the 31st. So by the middle of next week. That is going to totally clobber him. But that will all be sort of part and parcel if it's upheld. Bye 40 Wall Street, and not to mention Bedminster, the many other properties. It would, he's looking at penalties that, short of being put in jail, are total, like take a sledgehammer to his brand and his corporate holdings in New York. Okay, so vintage Trump, for whoever has the curiosity, tolerance, whatever, to see it, but at least it's a good document for history, and you see him in some ways at his finest, especially saying, you sucker, you're not supposed to believe me. All right, so that it doesn't change the case, because this has already come in court, but it gives us a picture we hadn't had before of, sitting for 7 hours, even a well-coached witness, and someone who follows lawyers' instructions loses patience, has little fits of pique and stuff, and that's how Trump started. So it's a pretty illuminating little video. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.